Hey everyone, this is Jim, and it looks like Democrats have finally come up with a new immigration bill. If you're interested in my thoughts, stay tuned after this. Right below, but let's jump right into it and see what she has to say about the bill. This is an ABC News report.
Today, Democrats introduced a sweeping immigration reform bill. Three of the biggest focuses of the bill are a pathway to citizenship, attacking the border backlog head-on, and continued improvements to border security. Joining us now is one of the leading members of Congress behind this bill, California Representative Linda Sanchez. Congresswoman, thank you so much for joining us today. Now,
Okay, so before she jumps into talking to the congresswoman, want to make sure that we cover the reasons that immigration is a problem right now. President Trump had created a huge backlog at the southern border, separating children from their families, basically putting a stain on the country and who we are as a country. So President Biden and the Democrats in Congress have made it a part of their initial push to try to fix this. Our immigration system has been broken for a while. It's just too convoluted. It has too many laws that were set up for past and not for our current situation. In the past, Democrats and Republicans have both wanted this and both wanted to move forward. There was a bipartisan bill during President Obama's term that didn't quite make it through the Senate, or the House. So it was close, but we didn't quite get there. Basically, it sounds like pathway to citizenship is in this bill, which is for people that are here already, finding a way to make them not be here undocumented anymore. Usually, we'll see what the Congresswoman says about it, but usually that means that they put them at the end of the line and they move them through the process that way. They pay fines or whatever. The backlog at the border is what we were just talking about, all the asylum seekers and everything, where it was designed to cause problems at the border and maximize pain at the border. And then border security is always an issue. We want to make sure our borders are secure. Just a wall isn't really the best way to do it. And Mexico is definitely never going to pay for it.
what's the reality of this getting enough Republican support to make this into a reality?
Well, it's interesting. People keep asking me that, but there is a reality that we can get Republican support for this bill. In the last Congress, we were able to pass a number of pieces of immigration reform legislation with Republican support.
Said that earlier during a press conference, and also just now, that we all know that when you introduce a bill, oftentimes the end result is not the same as the starting result. Given everything that is going on in our country right now between COVID, vaccines, and the economy, would you say that this is the best time to present this bill? And how much of the original proposal are you willing to sacrifice?
So I will just say this. This is a common sense solution to immigration reform that has plagued our immigration system for decades. Now is certainly the time. Most of the people who will be applying through citizenship through this process are already living and working here in the United States. Many of them are essential workers who have kept food on the shelves of our grocery stores during this pandemic, who have helped care for the elderly in nursing facilities, who have held the hands of patients who took their last breath in the emergency room, people who were affected by COVID. These are parts of our community. They are integral parts of our community's families, and they deserve some relief. This bill, you ask any economist, will help grow our economy and reduce our deficit. So yeah, now is the time.
So that's a common question. There's always different priorities in any given administration, in any given Congress, right? There's a lot of things happening right now. COVID, obviously, and then the COVID-related economic downturn. I cut out some of the back and forth that wasn't really relevant, but it is, and it will help economically too, right? A lot of these people are paying taxes, but not able to use a lot of the benefits that they're getting. And then on top of that, which causes downturns in the economy, because if they're out of work, they're not exactly making the best use of their time, right? So there's a lot of economic benefit by fixing it and making it more understandable for the immigrants to come in here, which will reduce illegal immigration and increase legal immigration. you make it more transparent and easy and make sense to the situation that we're currently in, which our current immigration laws do not address. That's what everything is lost in a lot of these conversations is, oh, we got to secure the border, build the wall, or whatever. It's the reason we have an illegal immigration, besides the fact that our employment laws are allowing a lot of this, because we don't really go after the employers that are drawing these people in, is that our current immigration laws themselves are a hindrance to legal immigration. They don't make sense for what's happening today. They may have made sense in the past, in the 80s and 90s when a lot of them were written, but things change, and we need to upgrade our immigration laws to meet the moment of today. Again, there's always different priorities that need to be aware, but the Congress did just pass COVID relief, which will help with the economy. So this is not like they just sit there and do nothing and just, oh, well, it's the economy now, we can't really do anything. They need to continue to work. There are a lot of other issues that are pressing that need to be addressed. And if they need additional COVID relief, then they can take that up when that time comes. But we need to deploy what they just passed a week or so ago and make it and move on to their next priority. They can't stand still and just wait to see what will happen.
The bill lays out a pathway to citizenship over the span of 8 years. How can you reassure the undocumented community of 11 million that their information is in safe hands with the Biden government? Right now, he's only elected to serve, of course, for 4 years. And on the other side of that argument, what kind of vetting will be done to make sure that the people granted this opportunity are truly deserving of it?
Well, there is a rigorous application process. Obviously, there will be the background checks that are accompany that, the need to pay fees. So there will be a rigorous process for making sure that these folks should be on the path to citizenship. There are privacy protections included within this bill. I mean, the bill is sweeping. It has identified most of the choke points of our legal immigration system and helps to unsnarl those problems so that we can keep families from being separated for decades or waiting decades to reunite with loved ones.
And this.
So yeah, that kind of is a reassurance on both sides. For people that are worried, well, are we going to get illegal or doing criminal activity? Well, there's always been a background check before in the legal immigration process, but now they're going to do it. They're going to make these people are here already, so they're going to be for the first time going through that criminal background check. So it's actually going to help weed out the people that we have concerns about, right? And then from the illegal immigration community, the undocumented community, what are their concerns is, well, this is going to take 8 years. You're only in office for 4. So there's privacy protections put in place so that if they come forward and apply for this, they won't automatically get kicked out of the country. They'll be in line. They'll be fair and just ways to do this. And not without nothing that if a law like this gets put into place, it's very unlikely that a new Congress or a new White House will be able to backtrack and just start deporting all these people. So the process is slow. We've been working on this immigration problem for about 12 years now. So hopefully they could pass it this time and we can get some good news out of it.
This bill also includes a focus on the factors that cause people to migrate. The price tag on it would be $4 billion over the span of 4 years. Who would provide oversight of that money to make sure that it isn't placed in the wrong hands of the very foreign government officials who share a huge portion of the responsibility for the conditions of these countries?
Sure. I'm glad you've asked that question, because what this bill does that is different from any immigration bill prior is it seeks to address the root causes, the reasons why people come north. And it creates a plan to use, collaboration with the international community, with the private sector, to create benchmarks and help governments try to reduce things like poverty, violence, corruption, to establish rule of law and democratic institutions in these countries. If we are able to get at the root causes that cause many of these people to flee and come north, we can stem much of the tide of immigration. But, the last administration, they tried every tool within their reach to make immigration as restrictive.
So what she's talking about is the reasons why people come here, right? And a lot of times it's poverty or crime or other areas that are causing them to come here. And we really need to address those. And the concern is how those places are corrupt. Well, she says there's going to be benchmarks put in place for each rollout of the money to help address those concerns. But we all ultimately have a lot of responsibility here too, because a lot of times we cause those countries to be unstable by backing government coups and all this kind of stuff in Latin America. So we're not blameless in this whole situation either. So we need to make sure, when we're thinking about this, yeah, we want to make sure that those countries, they use the money wisely. And we need the benchmarks. But we're not blameless in this situation here. A lot of times we caused or are one of the causes for the poverty and the crime and the corruption in those countries. So it's good that we're going to address that in this bill.
That was fixated on a wall, and that's not a solution to a modern day problem. This bill, that is the Biden vision, commits resources and infrastructure at our ports of entry to make sure that we are able to manage our southern border. And with that is a multi-pronged approach with getting at the root causes, I think is the right set of common sense policies that will help us fix this problem once and for all.
So the Congresswoman wrapped up by talking again about making sure that what we do now meets the moment. Previous administration was building a wall. That obviously isn't what we needed to do because that was an old technology. You build a wall, a 12-foot wall, you get a 13-foot fence and a 13-foot ladder and you're good to go, right? So this is going to be a balanced approach to make sure that everybody's taken care of. We get the areas moving and we make it realistic for what the situation is right now, right? So there's a lot of facets that go into immigration. Obviously, you can't capture it in one short video from the Congresswoman or one short video from me trying to add where I'm actually adding additional context to it as well. But once that bill comes out and it gets fleshed out a little bit more, we can obviously dive deeper into sections of it to see what it actually is talking about. But for right now, hopefully you got some additional value from hearing a little bit more context about immigration and what's going on. If you did, please like the video below. And in the comments, tell me what you think is going to make the biggest impact on improving the immigration situation right now. Is it going to be the pathway to citizenship? It's going to be the backlog or security, the border security, or the going after root causes. Those are the 4 things that they talked about in this video. Hopefully you can find something. Tell me what you think is going to make the biggest impact. And until I see you on the internet, you have a great night. Bye.